Welcome back. It's been a while, and it's been quite the offseason so far. With the Eagles training camp right around the corner and the start of the season soon after, training camp opens July 28th, and the Eagles have more questions than any year since 2020. The first question, can Jake Elliott get back on track? The greatest kicker in Eagles history has been in a 2-year slump. Now, if you're on social media like I am during the game, you know that every missed kick is a crisis. The Eagles reworked his deal, so that means he is the guy for 2026. But let's be honest, the anxiety is real. Elliott in 2020 was just kicking a little over 73.7%. He bounced back with 3 strong seasons, but can he do it again? Now, playoff Elliott is a different animal. He is making 96.6% of his kicks. That's second in NFL history behind Robbie Gould. Over the last 2 seasons, though, he's only making 5 of 15 from 50 yards, and that is insanely brutal. A key camp indicator going into training camp is consistency in camp drills. But let's be honest, Jake Elliott has been plagued with the yips over the past couple seasons. But he has always been a gamer when it matters. Who is quarterback 2? Andy Dalton or Tanner McKee? This unexpectedly became a real camp battle. Dalton took the majority of the QB2 reps during spring practices, leading to speculation that Tanner McKee's roster spot isn't necessarily a sure thing. With McKee entering the final year of his rookie deal, trade rumors are indeed swirling, and Andy Dalton is that proven vet. Now, Dalton brings 16 years of experience. He processes the new offense faster than anyone but Hurts, but his arm strength has been visibly eroded. McKee has a better arm mobility upside and has been in the building for 3 years, and there's that camaraderie there. McKee clearly outperformed Dalton in the spring practices that the media can see, but also keep in mind, rookie Cole Payton is a dual threat project. Payton is likely headed for the practice squad unless he flashes in preseason that he can really challenge either one of those two for a roster spot. Could the Eagles trade Tanner McKee to another team if he loses that quarterback battle? That's something to keep in mind. Is Riq Woolen the answer at quarterback 2? Now, the Eagles signed Riq Woolen to a 1-year, $12 million deal after he lost his starting job in Seattle. But he was the star of the show during spring practices. Coaches and teammates were raving about the 6'4", 210-pound cornerback with 4.26 speed. He could really transform that secondary to be one of the league's best trio alongside Mitchell and DeJean. Now, Vic Fangio has said that he seemed surprised that Woodland didn't get a long-term deal elsewhere. Spring practices revealed that Woodland made a lot of wow plays consistently, not just flashes. And at his 6'4" frame, which is rare length, he gives Mitchell a completely different type of animal on the opposite side of the field. Now, Keely Ringo, Jacorian Bennett, and veteran Jonathan Jones are also competing for roster spots and that cornerback 2 position. The Eagles usually keep 6 cornerbacks on their initial 53-man roster, so let's see who makes it out from training camp. A key camp indicator with this is, can Woodland be consistent against first-team offenses when the pads come on? These next questions can completely define the season. Who wins the edge 2 battle, Jalen Hunt or Nolan Smith? The most competitive position battle on the roster, Hunt led the team in sacks in 2025 and continued to show improvement every month. Smith has his 5th-year option picked up by the Eagles and enters year 4 finally healthy with a chip on his shoulder. Now, to be fair, Jalen Hunt had the better 2025 campaign and led the team in sacks and interceptions. Hunt's versatility allows Fangio to move him around and increases his value significantly. Nolan Smith is finally healthy entering year 4, and again, he has that chip on his shoulder because, again, availability is the best ability, and Nolan Smith has been plagued with injuries throughout his tenure with Philly so far. But the coaching staff still believes in Smith's potential. Now, remember, the Eagles have traded and signed Jonathan Greener to a $98 million 4-year deal, and he is the clear edge 1 rusher for Vic Fangio. But he is also coming off a 3-sack, injury-shortened campaign himself. This is likely going to end up a 45-55 split rather than a true starter backup. And let's keep in mind that the Eagles also added Arnold and AJ Epenesa as depth pieces. Who starts at safety opposite of Andrew Makuba? Now, this is widely considered the weakest spot on the roster. Reed Blankenship left in free agency. Marcus Epps is considered the front runner, but Michael Carter II is transitioning from nickel corner. Tons of Philly beat writers have all identified that this position that could keep the defense from being elite. Now, we know that Howie always is looking for improvements around his roster, so this is something that he might look after training camp to improve. So let's watch that closely. Kuper DeJean slides to safety in base packages, but that still leaves 75 to 80% of snaps at the other safety spot. Marcus Epps was a starter on the 2022 Super Bowl team. He brings experience and stability. Michael Carter II can play nickel and safety. Versatility is definitely his strength. Andre Sam is the other returning safety from 2025, but he was more of a depth piece. If nobody separates themselves in camp, expect Howie Roseman to make a late August trade for a veteran, because he's done it before. Will Jalen Carter get his contract extension, and can he return to dominance? This is the most discussed defensive topic on social media. Carter was a Pro Bowler, but he dealt with a nagging shoulder injury that required injections during the 2025 season. He is eligible for a massive extension. Now, Jeffrey Simmons just reset the defensive tackle market at $35 million a year. Some fans are really questioning if Jalen Carter is worth that or if he's really earned that. Now, in 2025, Jalen Carter put up 3 sacks, 7 batted passes, 5 tackles for loss, 12 hits on the quarterback in just 11 games. Good, but not that dominant. He was playing through shoulder injuries that clearly sapped his strength. Now, the Eagles have been the subject of trade rumors surrounding Jalen Carter, but he is a cornerstone of that defense. Chris Jones is making $31 million a year, and Jeffrey Simmons is making $35, and they set the market. A key camp indicator for this one is that we need to watch Carter's explosiveness off the snap. If he looks healthy, this defense will remain elite. Will the offensive line still be elite without Jeff Stoutland? The legendary Jeff Stoutland is gone after 13 years, replaced by Chris Kuper, former Vikings offensive line coach. Meanwhile, Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens both went to Colombia for stem cell therapy this offseason. Lane Johnson missed the second half of the 2025 season with a Liz Frank injury. Now, Landon Dickerson heavily considered retirement this offseason. That's how much pain he was dealing with throughout the 2025 NFL season. The stem cell treatments were for his knees and ankles. Cam Jurgens had stem cell treatment for his back issues that lingered all the way from the Super Bowl he played in back in February of 2025. Johnson, 14th season, said he's healthy and he feels great. Now, Chris's background is in wide zone blocking, a scheme change that players are reported eager about. Tyler Skeen is now an established starting guard after 1,008 snaps in 2025. The backup tackle situation is a major concern. Rookie Markel Bell and Michael Morris need to develop fast. Can Saquon Barkley bounce back from his 2025 season? After a historic 2,000-yard Super Bowl season in 2024, Barkley fell to just a little over 1,100 yards and he averaged 4.1 yards per carry in 2025. It's been widely speculated that maybe it's age, maybe the banged up offensive line, or was the scheme that really limited Barkley's production. Now, the new wide zone blocking scheme should theoretically help. Barkley's yard per carry dropped from 5.8 to 4.1, but the offensive line, if we all remember, was decimated by injuries. Now, Tank Bigsby, who the Eagles acquired from the Jaguars, averaged 5.9 yards per carry on 58 carries. He earned a bigger role going into 2026. The new Shanahan and Mannion scheme emphasizes tying the run and pass, and it should benefit Barkley and Tank Bigsby. With Malata, Dickerson, Jurgens, Steen, Johnson all healthy, this should get back to being a top 5 offensive line. Now, one thing we need to pay attention in camp is how the wide zone run game plays out under the new offensive line coach Chris Kuper and how he implements it. How do the Eagles replace AJ Brown? The June 1 trade of AJ to the Patriots was the biggest offseason storyline. The Eagles traded away a top 5 wide receiver and replaced him with essentially a committee. DeVonta Smith moves to the number 1 wide receiver on the depth chart, but the hierarchy behind him is completely unsettled. Now, DeVonta Smith is now going in as wide receiver 1, and the organization is genuinely excited about him getting his chance. First round pick Makai Lemon out of USC missed spring practices with a hamstring. His August reps are critical. Hollywood Brown brings proven deep speed speed. Dontayvion Wicks adds size and route running. Elijah Moore gives an inside-out versatility. Johnny Wilson, 6'6", is a red zone monster fighting for a roster spot. The prediction is that the Eagles will likely keep 6 wide receivers. Smith, Hollywood, Wicks, Moore, Lemon, Wilson. Those are probably the mix to win the roster spot. But the big question, can Hurts build chemistry with multiple new targets when he only really trusted Brown, Smith, and Goddard before? And the last burning question that's on everybody's mind, can Jalen Hurts thrive in Sean Mannion's offense? This is the single biggest question across every major media outlet platform. Mannion is Hurts' 7th play caller in 6 years, and the scheme is a radical departure from what Hurts has run. The new offense features more under center snaps, purposeful pre-snap motion, play action off the run game, and throws over the middle. Now, some of the spring practices show some stumbles as the unit worked through some of the learning curve, but that's really expected with a new offense like that. Hurts says that he is in sponge mode, and he has consistently praised Mannion's clarity and vision. Now, last year, the Eagles ranked 22nd in offense. That's one of the reasons why Kevin Patullo was fired. Mannion is only 34, just 6 years older than Hurts. A young QB whisperer approach. New quarterback coach Parks Frazier says this about Hurts: he is dedicated to winning more than any quarterback I've been around. Now, this is a key thing, that the Eagles got to the line slower than any other NFL team in 2025, and that has to be fixed. One key camp indicator that we can keep our eyes on for the 2026 training camp is we need to see how often Hurts throws over the middle and how comfortable he looks rolling left. Again, training camp starts July 28th. This coming Tuesday. 10 burning questions, and we'll get the answers at the NovaCare complex. This is a team that lost A.J. Brown, legendary coach in Jeff Stoutland, and watched its QB learn its 7th offense in 6 years. However, they are expected to still win the NFC East, and that's the standard in Philly now. Which of these 10 questions worries you the most? Drop some comments below. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I'll be trying to cover training camp as much as I can this offseason, and until next time, fly Eagles fly.